Okay, let's bring in Elaine Parker. Uh, she is a VP of Communications, Job Creators Network. Go to joinjcn.com, joinjcn.com. Elaine, thanks for being with us. We've got Todd Sheets with us. The jobs report coming out the other day, blowing everybody away, GDP 5%. But Elaine, we have not seen the benefits of the one big beautiful bill. Those are coming, the refunds that people are going to be getting back. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, better tax environment for small businesses, better investment opportunities, all of that not seen right now, but we're supposed to have record refunds blowing anything else away. What impact is the one big beautiful bill going to have on what I see coming, Elaine, as an economic resurgence in America?
Well, thanks for having me, John. And I couldn't agree more. First of all, the jobs numbers last week blew away expectations. And I really see it as a turning point in the labor market, in that job creation is actually catching up with what the larger and broader economy has been doing. And of course, as both of employment and job creation is usually a lagging indicator. So we all knew, we were sort of nerdy in that we follow this on a regular basis. We all knew that things were going in the right direction and doing well, but now job creation is catching up with that. So that's a good thing. Obviously, the GDP is very strong. The anticipated GDP for first quarter is going to be strong. We're seeing investment. I've spoken with several small business owners in the last few weeks to find out how things are going. And I'm hearing future investment this year. I even got some stories this week from a small business owner in Pennsylvania about his employees who are anticipating larger refunds because of overtime. He has a manufacturing facility in Pennsylvania. One of them is going to take a cruise to a warmer place because Pennsylvania has been very cold this year. One of them is going to put some money away for a rainy day fund. I mean, those are good stories about how people are able to keep more of their hard-earned money. And I agree with you. People are going to see larger refunds based on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. The 20% tax deduction that went through for small businesses that is now permanent, the lower permanent individual rates. This is all good news. And last year was about putting those stepping stones in place so that we could feel a better economy and feel some of those, but it had to build. I mean, we had a big hole to dig out of coming out of the Biden administration.
No question about it. A lot of people saying that they still have affordability issues, although, prices are stable. But as, Todd and I have talked about on the show forever, the Biden inflation was 12, 15%. It's still there. So now if it's, 2%, it's still on top of the 12 or 15%. So people are still feeling the pinch of higher prices. And Todd, those are not coming down. So how do we reconcile that as a people when we talk about affordability? You had the inflation under Biden. It's not like you're going to have deflation. We've got it under control, but it's still higher than it was a while back. So how do people reconcile that, Todd?
You guys have just been talking about it. I mean, the affordability issue is a situation where prices are out of line with incomes. And if the prices aren't going to drop, which they're not, they're still going up a little bit, not nearly as fast as they were before, but they're going up a little bit from this high unaffordable level. Well, the way to solve that, or the best way then, is through what we're talking about now, is you get this big economic growth going on, which gets translated into jobs. And when you already have relatively low levels of unemployment, like we also have, that number came down from 4.4 to 4.3% last week. Once it translates into jobs, then it's going to start translating into incomes and wages as well. And so that's what we need, is more people being put back to work at higher real wages. That means relative to the current rate of inflation. And then you start eating away at this affordability problem. And hopefully, we are on the beginning edges of all of that starting to transfer from the GDP numbers we've been seeing for a couple of quarters into the real economy, where real people start to feel like, okay, for the first time in almost forever, from their perspective, I feel like I'm a part of an economy that's working for me too. This isn't something that's just working for Wall Street or people who have big stock portfolios or already own a home and that kind of thing.
Well, it's got to get down to the average person. Wages have to go up. You nailed it. Wages have to go higher than prices have gone up. That's going to take a while to catch up, but we don't have deflation. So other than, certain products like eggs that were out of control and things of that nature that had external forces, chicken flus and things of that nature, the prices are not going down. I mean, this is what people don't understand when they say, well, Trump said prices would go down. Well, they're not going up as fast as they were, 2% instead of 15%. So that's a big difference. But wages here have got to catch up with that. Part of it is going to be these refunds because you got more money in your pocket, Elaine. I mean, people are getting back. I mean, I've talked to waiters here in DC that are getting back $3,000, $5,000, one guy $7,500. I mean, that's a lot of money to get back in a refund when your average refund before that was like $195.
Well, absolutely, John. And what we saw in this jobs report as well is that wages are growing and they are outpacing inflation, which is a stark contrast to what we saw under the Biden administration, where Americans were getting poorer on a regular basis because inflation was constantly outpacing them. And you're right. I agree with both of you. I don't think that prices are going to come down overall. We do see prices coming down in some areas. Gas is more affordable. President Trump has had a strong emphasis on deregulation, on cheap energy, and energy has been a big driver of inflation. So seeing that come down has obviously stabilized inflation, brought down some prices, but it's going to be about wage growth and it's going to be about strong GDP and job creation that's going to drive us out of this. And that's where small business comes in. And that's why the tax cuts are so important with bringing back the depreciation for investment and the lower tax rates, which is going to generate more investment, and small businesses and their employees are going to help drive us out of this.
This is the bottom line, and this is the linchpin of the tariffs. And I know not everybody agrees with me. I'm a protectionist. Everybody knows that. But the purpose of the tariffs is not to bring more money into the Treasury. That's a benefit. Purpose of the tariffs is to get our manufacturing jobs back, stop shipping them to China, get them here, get jobs here, get higher paying wages. That's the purpose of the tariffs. And the reason why if inflation hasn't gone up like all the economists predicted, except me, was very simple, right? If you're going to continue to export things into the U.S. and there's a tariff, you have to pay the cover charge to access the American consumer. And if you pass the tariffs on, guess what happens? Somebody in Des Moines, Iowa decides to compete with you. They can make it cheaper. They'll undercut you and you're done. So you have to cut your margins or get out. So we can do it. Who cares? One way or the other, prices are not going up. This is why the revenue is flowing in. This is why jobs are going up. This is why Trump's tariff structure is brilliant. You go to a bar, there's a band. You got to pay the cover charge, or you go to the bar without the band. It's as simple as that. That's why you pay it. Guys, we'll be right back. Stay with us. You're back on Outside the Belly. I'm John Fredericks, your blowtorch, your free speech in America. Elaine Parker, Todd Sheets with us. Your calls, 888-480-JOHN. I'm live in Washington, D.C., America's most beautiful, safest city in history right here. Absolutely gorgeous. We have no crime, zero, zip. No crime. Streets are clean. No garbage. Oh, it's piling up in New York City. Oh, by the way, they're opening up grocery stores for free. You can only get one bag, yet pretty soon they'll be pulling up trucks and wiping you out. And what about the guy that's 2 blocks away with the bodega that's working 19 hours a day to make ends meet, and he's got to compete with government stores that are giving away food for free? Good plan, Mandami. This whole thing is going to collapse. I'm going to be laughing my tail. Garbage. I'm talking to my friends in New York right now. They said the garbage is piled up so high you can't even see over it. Like they can't collect the trash. Well, duh, right? Wait till the crime hits. Unbelievable. You know what? As you guys know, I am opposed to this iGaming. It's 8 states have it. It's a joke. Now Virginia's trying to do it. It's another money grab. They effectively put a casino in every pocket. Now, there's nobody that's more pro gambling than me. I gamble every day. Everybody knows that. Sportsbook gambling, it's regulated, it's legal. There's a take there. Everything you go out of one jurisdiction. There's a rate you can't get in. You can't put money in. Can't take it out. I mean, this thing is well regulated. This iGaming is a joke, okay? And it's making continuous betting easy and difficult for families to understand. It's addictive. It's bad for kids, bad for the elderly, bad for those that are the most vulnerable. You can lose $50 on your phone sitting at a Wawa with a cup of coffee in 6 minutes. Now, I bet a hockey game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't get the result until I get up the next day because I went to bed. It's like 10 hours, not 6 minutes. It's insanity beyond belief. Research shows online casino gambling is associated with higher addiction rates, faster losses, leading to increased household debt. Now, all you got to do is call your local state senator, call the state senate office, tell them vote no on iGaming, 804-698-7400, 804-698-7400. This message paid for by the National Association Against iGaming. Unbelievable. The people are just after the money grab is incredible. They don't care what happens to people. As long as they get their money, as long as they get their donors, these people are sick. These are sick people. All right, let's get back to Elaine and Todd. So all the naysayers about the tariffs, I feel like I've been vindicated. Because I'm a protectionist. I never met a tariff I didn't like. I feel this is like the great Godzilla vindication. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, well, look, I agree. But I also think you don't even have to be a protectionist to be vindicated by this. So, for example, I'm not a protectionist, but I supported the tariffs because I think, one, we need to isolate China's economy the way the Soviet Union was isolated during the Cold War so that we can hopefully win that battle without having to fire a bullet. And then second, for all the people running around saying, I'm against the tariffs, I'm a free marketer, I'm a free marketer. Well, look, I am a free marketer. But if you've got Germany charging a 10, 15, 20% tariffs on our cars or something like that, and we're charging 2% on theirs, or some kind of other games going on in Japan where you virtually cannot sell American goods there, but we're buying all kinds of theirs, those aren't free market dynamics. And you can even take that back to China. Nobody said you should engage in free market trading with a hostile enemy so that you expand the power and size of their economy so they can use it to engage in a weapons buildup. So there's a range of reasons to disagree with that. And, the good news is here is I think we've already seen, look, it hasn't affected inflation in any meaningful way. It's not going to, and it has not kept the economy from kicking into these very high levels of growth here. So,
Elaine, what do you think of what Todd just said and me earlier?
I agree with them. I mean, look, I'm not a protectionist either. I'm a free marketer. I saw the.
What does that even mean? What does that mean when you guys say that? Okay, I just got to go here because what does that mean? I'm not a protectionist. Todd said the same thing, so I'm not calling you out. I'm not a protectionist. I'm a free marketer. What does that mean? I mean, I'm for protecting U.S. jobs and getting manufacturers. What does that even mean, guys? Help me understand that.
Well, I mean, I think the implication is that we're just the opposite of you, John. It's not an insult.
I don't know what that means. I'm a free marketer. I'm a for free market also, but I want our jobs protected. I don't want them shipped to China. So I don't understand when people say to me, oh, Fredericks, you're a hopeless protectionist. I'm a free marketer. I don't know what that means, Todd. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things. The first and the biggest thing is free markets basically means a lack of government intervention in the markets in general. So that's a critical point, and that's the biggest point. I think with respect to trade, what people typically mean, again, if we're not talking about trading with a hostile regime like China, we're talking about other, free democracies. The idea there is free trade is you trade based on comparative advantage. And if England can produce something at a cheaper rate than we can, then we buy those things from England and we sell the things that we can do better than they can back to them. Now, that may sound theoretical. The advantage of it is it forces each country to become the best value-added provider of whatever the good or service is in the world. And then that opens up markets outside of your own borders to your products and that type of thing. So in a working environment where you don't have all these dysfunctions that we're carrying around from the post-World War II years, where we're trying to let Europe and Japan rebuild, and we've got the system stacked against us. But in a balanced world, it does make sense, because otherwise we run the risk of becoming inefficient. So yeah, we can sell to ourselves, but then we lose the benefit of selling to the rest of the world. And we open ourselves up to other people trying to find ways to buy products from abroad because they're better and cheaper and that kind of thing.
All right, Elaine, what do you have to say about all this?
Oh, Trump's a deal maker. He has always thought that we were getting the raw end of the deal when it came to tariffs with other countries, particularly China. He's said it for 30 years. And so, he wrote The Art of the Deal. He wanted to make things fairer and make them put us on level playing field. Japan sold its cars here, and we couldn't even sell any cars in Japan. Everything was out of whack. And so what he used these tariffs for was to help level the playing field and make it more fair. And that's been the goal. And the concern all along was this was going to raise prices, this was going to increase inflation, and we haven't seen that. And so these are working. We obviously have deals still to make, but he's a deal maker. This is what he does. And when he sees something so unfair, so out of balance, he wants to put it back in balance. And he likes to win. Frankly, he wants to win. He wants to come back to the table and make a good deal, but he wants to be the winner of the deal.
Well, it's interesting. All the politicians I talk to, they always love to say, nobody will call themselves a protectionist except me. They love to say, well, I'm for fair trade. I don't know what that means either. I just want to protect our jobs and our manufacturing. So I am a protectionist. At the end of the day, I'm right. This whole nation became industrialized when we put these tariffs in, if you look back at history. But we're not going to go down that path, because you guys know in your heart I'm right. Let's get to Rubio's speech. Unbelievable, I thought. Let's start with Elaine. What did you think of that speech in Munich? Was that transformational or what?
I do. I think that what I can say about Secretary Rubio is he's really made an impact in this administration, and just everyone I talked to was so impressed with what he has done representing the United States and how he's conducted himself. I think that we're going to continue to keep talking about him for the next few years.
Did it make an impact on what you thought about 2028, Elaine?
Well, I've always liked Secretary Rubio. He's been my senator for a long time, and I think he's a fantastic candidate. I'm undecided, obviously, for 2028. I think that we're going to have a good field to look at, and there's a lot of opportunities to have a president who can carry on these conservative policies that are pro-business and deregulation and cheaper energy and pro-growth for small business.
Todd?
Yeah, I've been thinking this for several months now. This series of international engagements that we've had, dating back to Iran, what has happened with Israel, what happened in South America. Rubio has really stepped it up big time. These people get elevated and they're put on a stage and they either step up to the moment or they don't. And to me, Rubio and Scott Bessent, are two people that have both stepped up in an enormous way. And I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the dynamics are shifting there. You talked about this, John, a couple of weeks ago where, J.D. Vance, there were some responses where it's like, okay, I need to get some attention too. And I think we're clearly going through a moment. I think they've assigned him that he's supposed to head up going after waste, fraud, and abuse in all these states and that kind of thing. I read that as a clear response to the fact that Rubio is getting so much press and doing so well that Vance wants to get the spotlight shining back on him to try and rebalance this stuff.
Well, it's got to be driving Chris LaCivita bat crap crazy, who's running Vance's campaign now. He's in charge, and I'm sure he's on the phone making sure that Vance is getting some press. But you can't take anything away from Rubio. But I would like you guys to do me a favor. I've got the first in the nation straw poll out, which is a very sophisticated poll. We ranked the candidates. We've got 11 of them on there. I'd like to be able to text it to you guys if you could participate in it and send it out to your list. Todd, maybe put it in your Substack. We got some interesting preliminary results. Certainly it's changing a little bit now as time goes on and the results get bigger. But if I could send that to you, Elaine and Todd, and you guys could send it out to your friends, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to do that now. Okay, final thing here. Todd had a big riff earlier that we're going to put up, Todd. That was absolutely epic. Thank you for doing that before Elaine got on. Elaine, midterms. Looks like we're going to lose these seats in Virginia. That's a huge blow. That's going to be at least 3, maybe 4 seats. Virginia Supreme Court punted till after this referendum. Then they're going to say, well, the people spoke. I mean, it was gutless, but that's what we deal with now, just gutless people all over the place. Do we have any way we can turn the corner and squeak out with a win here in the House?
Well, look, a 1-seat majority doesn't bode well for the Republicans. But my advice to Republicans is to stay focused on the message and don't let themselves be distracted by all of the other things that the Democrats continue to try to distract them with. The message should be about the benefits of the tax cuts. Every small business owner should be talking about it. I mentioned earlier that I've been speaking with small business owners across the country and trying to get stories that we can highlight about how the tax cuts are helping them, because the Republicans are distracted and off message. They're not talking about the tax bill. So Americans are not hearing the good things that are happening as a result. And small business owners need to scream from every mountaintop and talk to their employees about why they're getting more back, why they're getting bigger refunds, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. They need to talk to them about investment. They need to tell their employees, I'm able to buy this equipment and hire 4 more people because of the tax bill, because the media keeps lying to the public about the tax bill and framing it as that these are tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. And there's nothing true about that. This is directly targeted to the middle class, small business owners, and middle-class employees with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And we have to talk more about it. We have to stop getting distracted.
I agree. You can follow Elaine at Job Creators Network at JCN. Go to joinjcn.com, joinjcn.com. Todd Sheets, want to thank you for being with us. Great segment. Great rant, by the way, you had at the beginning. Todd Sheets on Substack. Just go to Substack, Todd Sheets. It's free. I'm going to send you guys my poll. Thanks for participating in it and sending it out. And we're going to see what happens. Todd Sheets and Elaine Parker. Great to have you guys. We're going to be right back with your calls. 888-480-JOHN. Stay with us.